So before we get into reviewing Warren, who, if you don't know, very top-rated player on console, just made the switch to PC, trying to get back up to those high ranks. He is like a main hit scan player, DPS player, mostly playing like Ashe and McCree. I think in general, that's their most played heroes. And this is around high masters right now, trying to rank up. All right, so the first thing we do is take a look at the comps always. I mean, your comp obviously is a little bit sketchy, but it's okay. I think it'd be better to be on Ashe in this circumstance because your guys are playing a comp that you need to be playing like high ground and stuff, especially this is like Hanamura. So I think heroes that sit on the low ground are generally pretty weak and pretty vulnerable to getting like rushed. So I just feel like Ashe, especially on this map where the choke is like super deadly, I think an Ashe is just more being able to utilize the high ground or being able to run away with Ashe, I think would be better here, even in the comp you're running. I think McCree would be a good pick here if you had like an Orisa Sigma that you could actually stand next to and get a lot of value off of. But realistically, your ball is going to be going for flanks and your Sigma is going to be playing like an off angle on high ground. So I think it would be a little bit better to be Ashe here, but it's not the end of the world. Like, it's not like McCree's too bad of a pick. But it's not great. Just okay, I guess. This is not great. You're like AFK at the start of the round. You should be peeking the choke and spamming shields here. It's really bad to be AFK even for a second here because you could be like breaking the Rhine shield when he walks up and like, yeah. So there's no reason to not be always ready. As soon as the gates open, you need to be ready to play. Like if they were on sim comp or something, they would be like already on point. You wouldn't have even had time to realize that and recognize. But luckily your Zen kind of carries here. Doing the right thing, right clicking or shooting the shield. Come up on that guy. Sure. There's no reason to not shoot max speed here on a Lucio. Like, this guy is not dying unless you hit multiple shots, so waiting between your shots is pretty bad. Like, you should just be spam shooting as fast as you can. And even as your aim is like, maybe you're not that confident in your aim right now, but as you get, like, once you get better at the game, you'll shoot max speed almost always. There's some exceptions to that, maybe if you're like trying to headshot somebody, but this guy's full HP, so you need to shoot him more than once no matter what. So there's no point in, like, you'll never get the kill shooting like this, even if you hit the headshot, so you always want to fast shoot. This is good. You heard the Lucio, so you turned around to fight him. I think you could have rolled here. I think you missed an opportunity to kill him. Because he did this dumb rotation where, like right here, you also waited to shoot this guy. You kind of like lined it up. I don't like that style of shooting. I think you should shoot really fast and just like, you could get 2 shots on him while he's doing this really stupid jump. He's like, it's really out of position. You could get 2 shots on him while he's doing this. And then also you kind of slip up your movement there, so you're slow. But even now, you should roll forward right now, and I think you catch him with a flashbang. If you roll forward and flash right up here, I think you catch him. But you don't even roll there. Like, roll can be used to reload, but if sometimes you just need to close distance. Like right now, I'd roll at this Lucio, get close to him, you know? Like, try to flash him. That's like the best thing you can do to Lucio is flash him. You're doing the right thing here, pressuring Rhine. I'd like to see you go for the flanks here. That's a good flank. I think you could keep pushing this flank and kill the Ashe. Like, it's okay to shoot point. Okay, you're aware of the Ashe though. You're doing the right thing. You're like you're keeping her in your mental focus even if you're not going for her. So you did the right thing there. Putting some damage in on point. Sure, this is just cleanup now, so all that matters is not dying. I like that. As soon as you take pressure from the Tracer, you start backing off. She doesn't really need to die here. You don't want to risk your life for it. So yeah, that's pretty good. I just think when that Lucio's going behind, you can like roll on him and try to flash him off the wall, and he's like a free kill. If you've hit the flash, you should just die every time. You're also just trying to shoot faster when he's doing those stupid roll rides with no support. Poking choke, all is well. Pressuring the Rhine, sure. I think you're gonna rotate to high ground here for the high noon. I like it. Although I don't know why you stop in here. I think you should just hit this as fast as you can. I think waiting is just bad here. Because you know they're playing a Rhine comp, they have to cross to the point. You guys are playing a very greedy comp with double hit scan on a Zen and Sig Ball. Like, you guys have a lot of damage. They're always going to be going to point while you go high ground. So I don't think you should ever wait, like delay this flank. I don't think that's good. I think you should just hit the timing as fast as humanly possible. You also just high noon this guy. You shoot at him. There's no reason to shoot at him there. I mean, he's going to drone himself every time. But you should just instant cast high noon if he starts walking out. There's no reason to like take shots at him there. Especially long range McCree. It's just better to just instant cast the high noon. You can roll up here. A little bit slow on the roll up so she gets the mega. Get the kill though. Get it done in the end. You kind of walked in a straight line here. It's pretty bad. Like when this Tracer, you heard this Tracer blinking. when you're after you get this kill, you should not be like turning tail and running out. You should be getting this kill and then like backing out and keeping an eye on the enemy. Because if you had been playing like that, if you were looking like this way as you back out, you'll be seeing this Tracer, you'll see her bubble, and then you can like dodge because you know she's coming. You know, I mean, it's a little bit obvious she's trying to pulse bomb you, but even if you don't know that, you would like AD. But instead, I think you're just gonna walk in a straight line and get pulse. Like, you didn't make that hard for her at all. You basically made it free for her. So she's never gonna miss that if she's a competent player. So I think that, like, when you're backing out like that, you should kind of slow back and like be looking at the threats, because if you see that Tracer, you should start dodging so she doesn't stick you like that, or one clip you or whatever. Or maybe you could flash her. I mean, in that case she was bubbled, but you didn't even know any of that stuff because you weren't looking at her. So that's just like your focus was off. You guys are probably gonna lose first because it's 2 CP, and if you lose a player on first point, you probably just lose. So you're probably back to the fight now. You don't realize there's an Ashe behind you. I don't blame you for that. It's kind of a weird spot. You should just fan the hammer here. No reason to go for a headshot here. You see that she's low. Like, I mean, if you're really paying attention to audio cues, I think you could probably figure out that she's on the left here. But as soon as you don't see her here and you heard that audio, she has to be behind you now. So now it's a little bit obvious. But whatever. She shoots at you. You do this. But now you know she's low HP. You should just right-click her here every time. You kind of like, you just panicked here. Like, obviously, like, you like weren't ready for her to be there. But always fan the hammer at close range, with the exception of like a Tracer or something who gets one tapped after the flash. But fanning the hammers is almost always better. I don't even especially if they're low HP. Yeah. Or if they jumped, then if they're jumping while they get flashed, it's like hard to headshot them. And if you're that close to them already, there's no reason not to fan the hammer. Taking those peeks. I don't hate it. You stop peeking when you take damage, which is the correct play. Pressuring Tracer. That's the right play also. You got to be really careful in this position. They could rush you with speed boost. I think you're just looking for that big flashbang, but I guess they don't have beat, so you're not too scared. I would be looking, yeah, looking over at the edge here. Alright, you're slow here with the roll. You should definitely roll away after you do this play. Like, I mean, he grabs you. Maybe he would have caught you anyway, but a play like this, you should definitely be insta-rolling. And if I were you, I would try to roll off the edge and just fall down here to survive. Like, you just try to, like, reload here. Like, I think if you insta-rolled, I think she actually might have missed the grab on you. If you, like, insta-rolled, because she fucking 180 snap tried to grab you. So if you insta-rolled instead of walking like this, I think you might have missed this game. Regardless, it's the right play, even if it would have caught you. Because if they don't have grab, then you definitely survive by rolling. And honestly, they might have missed the grab the way they did it. No, they're not. I don't know. People saying they're trying to bait the grab is like, that's insanity. Like whether you're trying to bait the grab or not, she shouldn't even grab you there. She should just fucking left click you and kill you. But I mean, this is like a level where people aren't playing efficiently. So you don't want to be like, I don't know. You don't try to anticipate the enemy using solo grabs or whatever. Just try to live and carry the game. That's really good. You kill the guy pressuring point. I would high noon right now. It's a little late, but you get it. Sure. I would like insta high noon when you see a Rhine with some people behind him. This is good. You're just crushing the flank now. This is a perfect cleanup. You clean up you get the Lucio kill with the high noon, and then you instantly hit the back line because there's only one healer, which means the other healer is an easy kill. So that's a good roll out of the window, hit the back line. That's exactly what I would have done in the situation. What rank is this? That's this is like High Masters. You're doing a good job. You're like looking at the right part of the map, kind of like watching over this right side. This now I'm like I like the McCree more now in second. The way you're playing it, you're like kind of playing up the close chokes, looking for flash kills versus Ashe. I think I would have rather seen you on Ashe on first, but McCree's good here. Especially this guy's dead. You shouldn't try and help him. I mean, you're flashing that guy, sure, but you need to get out of here. I think you waited a little bit too long to get out of there. Like a faster team might have caught you with the speed boost there, like stronger players. I like that you're trying to retake high ground. Get that kill, that's solid. You should man up on this guy for sure. You should roll here. You rolled a little late, but when the Lucio does this to you and he does his like wall ride shit and he's like coming in for the frag, you know, the Lucio, if he's actually a good player, he's gonna shoot and he's gonna like shoot and melee you right as he gets close to you. He's going to try and have like a left click that headshots you, and then he's going to melee you. So you want to use the roll like right now. When he jumps off this ledge and he's coming for you, you just want to roll, not only to reload because you have one shot, so you need to reload. It's for the roll. But like this guy, he just misses. He just misses. You should be dead. A better player kills you right now. A better Lucio just kills you, like gets the one shot on you because you're slow to roll. So if I were you, I would have rolled off and dropped down to the pit and try to get help from your team down here. Or at least you could roll off the pit, you could like run down here, and even if the Lucio does chase you down and kill you, which is pretty likely if he just goes in for it, he's out of position, he's not going to follow up for anything valuable. But staying on the high ground and like rolling late is that like you should be dead here basically. And I don't think you should just not look at the Lucio. I mean, he's like obviously up there. You could probably find him and kill him. I don't know where he went, but the Lucio just feeds anyway. Sure, I don't know why you're like sitting back here and doing nothing. I think you should be going to the high ground right now, like where you were. You kind of just sit around here AFK for a while. I think it's important to like get out of those habits of like not doing anything. Like you always want to be pushing up to the point that the furthest point forward that you can safely be to see where the enemy's coming, to shoot at them, you know, if you can, you know, whatever. The biggest thing is actually just to see where they're coming and like get info, see what they're playing. Maybe you're pressing tab, but you should be able to hold tab and run up the stairs at the same time. Poking with the Sig shield, sure. They jump you. Try to flash the Winston. I think your team is misplaying here. Like your Ana should be here. The Sigma is doing the right thing. I think your Ana is just way too passive here. You should tell your teammates to push up because you guys basically didn't retake the high ground. Like your Zen and Ana are playing back point, which is a position that they should only be playing after you lose the high ground. But giving up the high ground for free is really bad here. Should just high noon this guy, I think. Or oh, that's wrong as fuck. All right. When you see the drone, you went like halfway. Like I could see if I were you, I would have just gone here, hiding from him, and high noon the people on point. I think that is actually the best play when you walk out and you see this. Because a good BAP, you will get like 2 shots on the drone, and he will fucking one click. You just shit on you instantly with the double damage, right? He's not that good at BAP, but I think the best play here, you see the situation, you walk out, is high noon with the pillar to LOS the BAP, and then you like kill the people on point because these guys cannot do anything to you. The BAP, he won't be able to like, he has to like run over and get off his wall. He's not going to push you. He has fucking 1 HP. He's not going to leave his drone or his wall. So yeah, high noon from this position right now where my camera is definitely the correct play here. But you go for another play, which is I think wrong, but it's okay. But when you high noon before the drone is dead, and this is like ultra incorrect. Because not only did you get the BAP's attention and high noon right in front of him with double damage on, but also you didn't break the drone. So this is like you kind of went halfway between 2 different plays, and I think the high noon instantly from the pillar LOS is the actual right play, but killing the BAP drone and then trying to kill BAP would be fine, but you cannot use high noon there. You have to like shoot the drone 4 times, then shoot the BAP twice. That is like a sort of okay play. The way you're contesting here is really awkward. You went too early. Like you let them get 2 ticks, but like they're gonna get 2 ticks here before you touch. And honestly, I think in this situation, this is like a 99% loss. So your goal is to pretty much just get OT. Actually, you're already gonna get OT. So you're actually given that you already have 7 seconds left, your goal should actually be to play for a kill here. As long as you guarantee get, I mean, there's 7 is kind of close. You might maybe just play the OT stall, but regardless, the way you should touch from OT is like hug this inside wall so they don't see you, pop out, and then like blink once to touch point. Blink one, you double blink here, but you don't need it. You could blink once to touch point, wait like maybe I would say 0.2, 0.3 seconds, then blink to here, make them turn, and then if you, depending on how good you are at Tracer, you might be able to like waste just enough time to get 1/3 blink to go again behind here. And then you might be able to get a recall that keeps you on point. But because you recall so fast, you're not going to be on point when you recall. Which means you have to go right back into point, and they know exactly where you're coming from, and you have to use your blinks for it. You get OT, so it doesn't really matter. But you in a situation with more time to stall, you could have done that a lot better. In that case, it doesn't super matter because you already got the time low, but... And now with these kills, like, or with this situation, it's already OT. You should be playing to win here. Like, I don't want to see you recall. I mean, you just kind of walked on and died there. But on Tracer, when you're going for a stall play, you should do what I described earlier, where you do like blink, delay, blink, delay, blink, delay. Like that kind of like, that's like a stalling strat to maximize your time alive that you hold point. But when you're in, you already have OT, you play to win. And then the play in that situation is to try and get all the way to the back line, so the enemy has to turn around, and then the rest of your spawners are basically coming from behind. All right, you're on Ashe. I like Ashe. Enemy team happens to be playing Winston Ball. They're on a very all-in dive comp. So in this situation, actually, I'd rather you see you play McCree, but you don't know what they're playing yet, so I have no problem with you rolling out an Ashe. When you see this ball, I would literally just instantly go McCree when I see a ball here. Because, and you hear Winston now you know, now you should analyze the situation, and in 1 second, so now 45 seconds, you know exactly what they're playing. You just press tab, right? They're playing Tracer, they're playing Winston and Ball. I think if you had a Mercy, then I like the Ashe, but without this Mercy, you have Ana Zen, you have a very greedy backline. You don't need more greed in this comp. You need less greed. You need a hero like McCree who will defend the backline, rather than a hero like Ashe who herself needs defense in order to deal max DPS. Take this peek on high ground. I think you drop for no reason here. Like, this is a good peek on high ground, but I think you should stay up here until you take damage, basically. Like, you just shoot one shot and you miss a shot and you're like, I'm off. But like, you should make them push you off. Unless the Zen's like charging a right click and looking at you, then you could maybe drop. But just dropping for nothing is like, no, there's no reason to do that. There's no reason to go up there in the first place if you're gonna jump off like that. This peek on the choke is fine, sure. Dynamite, sure. Get the high ground, love it. This is a nice movement by you, nice rotation. Get your reload off here in a safe spot. Yeah, this is much better now that you're over here, but nice headshot on this guy. Follow up with the left clicks. Everything is good. Nice, nice. Good cleanup from there. I just think your initial peak, you could have stayed on the high ground until they pressured you. Force some sort of response from them. It's a nice play with the dynamite. I think you're kind of standing still when you shoot your dynamite, which is a habit you should get out of, because it's actually a bad habit. Like, I think you're not moving while you do this, or you're going like forward, backward. Yeah, you basically stop, which is actually kind of bad because you can just get headshot. One thing you can think about is don't move your crosshair, but you just strafe, like throw dynamite, strafe in, strafe out, like left, right, just like one little left, right, and then as soon as you, or right, left, and then you just like, you're back right where you started. You never moved your crosshair, but you kept moving. You stayed mobile because the Zen just missed some shots on you while you weren't really dodging him. So waiting for the Discord to decay. It's all good. I think right now your position is not optimal. I'd rather see you like up here maybe, because if you play this back point, I mean, all right, you guys are just destroying them actually, so you could just also run it down mid. But you're kind of in this no man's land of the middle of the point. And I'd rather see you either in a very defensive spot where you're like guaranteed to survive and you could like peek these windows, or I'd like to see you just running it down mid and left clicking the Zen. I think either one is fine, but I mean, not that it matters. Like, again, you're winning the fight, but like, you know, that's the sort of optimization you want to think about in terms of like getting your play to the next level, because sometimes it will be a closer fight and that will matter. Tried to help the Zen, try to dynamite the Tracer. That's all good. I think it's better to start spam left clicking the Tracer typically when she's on your teammates, because your teammates will probably have some sort of additional damage to add. At least if she's on you, then I could see going for the one shot. But I think when she's on your teammates, it's better to spam. I think you shouldn't scope in there. You guys are getting pressured really hard. Scoping in there is like kind of really, really greedy actually, because you know the Tracer's in the flank. The Zen is peeking top right. You don't want to scope in that moment. It's a super dangerous moment, so you can't afford to scope in. It makes you a very easy kill. Like, I don't like walking in scoped in like this. I think you could just run up and left click. You don't want to be worrying too much about this Sigma. Like, this dynamite, yeah, whatever, you hit him, but like, what does it do? You're kind of like playing very passive right now. I want to see you just go into the high ground. Like, I don't like this mid push from Ashe. I think this is a really bad position from you. Because they could just walk in on your head right now. They're Winston or whatever. I guess you're going to bob point, but even if you wanted to bob point, you should still go high ground, go here, force the enemy team to respond, and try and control this choke because you and your teammates are here. I mean, your teammates aren't doing the right thing either. They're low ground too. But you should be high ground with them. And then if you want to bob point, you force the response on high ground, then you drop down and bob, and then you go back to the high ground. But you kind of just stayed low ground the whole time. You didn't really need to do that. Like, you're gonna bot point here, I assume. This is good play. Sure, this is all good. You're covering the Bob. But I still don't like... I mean, I think it's okay to, like, go in and look for the quick picks here. But if you back out, you should be going high ground, right? Like, at least you're gonna go high ground right now, probably. That's good. It's a good rotation. I think you could have made this rotation a little bit quicker, but it's good enough. Dynamite the Winston. You have a window for a couple shots reloading here. It's not the end of the world, though. Ooh, nice kill. That's huge. Had to happen. You're probably losing anyway. Yeah, whatever. There's nothing you can do about that. You did pretty well in that fight, I would say. I think just the one thing would be I want to see you force a play on high ground, force the enemy team to respond, then drop down, throw Bob to point. And honestly, when you're going to Bob to point like that, I don't even like the poke in mid and look for kills play. I think it'd be better to just go high ground and get control of it. You ended up there at the end of the fight, but this is only because you're playing in like Masters that people don't keep high ground control. Like when you rotated back from mid that last fight and you came up here, like in GM, the enemy DPS and shit, I mean, would not leave this high ground. I don't know what they were doing the other fight. But in GM, the Sigma would never leave this high ground. If nobody stops him, he will just stand here the entire game in AFK and just shoot people. He will just peek this window and shoot your back. He'll peek here, make sure you're not going in. But you kind of jumped up the high ground, and it was just uncontested. Like, the enemy Tracer wasn't on high ground. She didn't know how to do the blink thing to go blink on the rock and then blink through the window. You got really uncontested on high ground, which actually shouldn't happen if the enemy team knows what they're doing. So I just think start the fight on the high ground, contest it for control. If the enemy, like you see this Sigma on low ground, he is out of position, hardcore out of position. You should be instantly going to the high ground right now and pushing in high ground. You're really slow with it. Like, I don't want you grabbing this Mega. Your healers are here. You don't need to grab the Mega. You just run over to the healers. The Zen trance is in. I don't know about this trance, but whatever. You're playing this really slow. Like, you need to be in here dealing damage. I know there's a Tracer behind, but you need to be in here dealing damage. And only turn on her when she actually goes on you. Okay, you break the drone. All good. You're not changing targets quick enough. You know the Tracer's still here behind you. You should be looking at point and like waiting for the audio cues of Tracer blinking or shooting people, and then you should be turning on her. If you don't shoot her, she's just gonna kill you for free like she did, right? You're not even looking at her, you scoped in. It's like a free one clip. So you have to be like having multiple target focuses here where you're shooting the people on point. Tracer comes to flank me. Now I fight Tracer. Tracer runs away or recalls or dies. Now I'm back to shooting the point. Should coach gun to the high ground here. You're probably going to do that. No, you're not. Yeah, you should definitely be coach gunning to the high ground here. It's a better position than the low ground. Bob to point instantly when you charge it. But enemy team is running out of resources and the Bob is too much for them. So it's all good. Yeah, I mean, it's whatever. It doesn't matter what you do here. Just get clean up regs. But yeah, I would have rather seen you take this fight jumping up to here at the start of the fight. I don't think running lower is like ever good, basically. Because the enemy team is not going to have cooldowns available to jump on you on the high ground. Even though they're playing Winston, like, he's not going to have his CDs to jump on you. And if he does, he's fucking up because you could just run away and you could drop back. Like, if the Winston does jump you here, you can just drop back out of the window and then you're right back where you were before. But instead, the Winston is now out of position and he wasted his cooldown and then he can't contest you in mid. But if you go mid and he jumps you, your only play is to like just run backwards and then like shoot his bubble or something and go back in. But if you go up here, he uses his cooldowns, he bubbles you, and then you have a new re-peak. But walking here, you're not going to want to like, the Winston jumps you here and then you like run over to high ground. By the time you do that, he might have another CD set. So you always want to start on high ground and then like force responses to contest the high ground and then move to the low ground once you, if you get pushed off the high ground, you can't be there anymore. That's okay. Then you fight low ground. But you always want to start high ground, force cooldowns, force responses, force player movement to get on you. Like if that Doomfist was a better player, he might have just rolled out straight onto you, onto this lower spot. But it's a lot harder to get here on Doomfist. You need to use all your CDs to get here, so you have nothing left when you get here. But if you go mid, they could do like full charge punch out to the left, E-slam here, and still have uppercut to kill you with. Okay, now you're 5v6ing, so this should just be free. I would also go McCree in this situation. If you're 5v6, I would always prefer McCree over Ashe. Ashe is like a greedy hero. There's no reason to play Ashe. And they even have a Widow, so I would prefer like Sombra. Honestly, you should go Sombra here and just go like fucking one-shot the Widow, just flank her and kill her. Like 5v6s, you don't want to play greedy heroes. You want the least greedy heroes possible. And Ashe is one of the greediest heroes in the entire game in terms of like glass cannon, lots of damage, not so much survivability. So playing less greedy heroes is a lot better. Like your Ana Zen comp, also terrible in a 5v6. Love Reaper. Reaper is a great example of a not greedy hero in this circumstance. But when you know you're 5v6, you shouldn't even be coming out of spawn on Ashe, because you give up the first fight for free. But it looks like you're gonna win anyway. Kill that guy. You should Wraith here. The Tracer could have one-clipped you if he was better. I would have just instantly Wraithed after the first kill with the Tracer behind you. Again, no need to be greedy. No need to get high value off your skills. All you need to do is just not die. The only way you could lose is dying there. So since you're not looking at the Tracer, it's very scary that she might one-clip you from behind there. So I would have just preferred a quick Wraith. All right. And that was the review. Is Tracer a greedy hero? I would say typically not. Typically, Tracer is a pretty also space-creating, like any sort of very high mobility hero besides like Genji and Doomfist and stuff. Those are kind of greedy heroes. Echo's kind of greedy. I mean, honestly, Sombra is one of the least greedy heroes because you just get like guaranteed information. It's really easy to just hack one guy and get the free kill for your team. And McCree is another example. McCree is also a somewhat greedy hero, but it's less greedy than Ashe, and it offers a lot of utility. When you're 5v6, you just flash kill one guy, and then you're 4v6. It's like game over, you know? All right. Very cool, fun review. Yeah, I feel like your aim is actually pretty solid. Like you're doing fine on aiming. Like you're hitting a lot of good shots. I think there's a couple times you're like not confident. Like you're not shooting as fast as you can be shooting. And sometimes on McCree, you're not using your roll as aggressively as I want you to use it, which is just like instant roll on people when they overextend or they're out of position. Like that Lucio kept going behind you. He should just get rolled on and flashed and die. And you should also be shooting as fast as you can, because even if you practice this like slow shooting thing where you're like, even if you start hitting every single shot like that, you're just capped on your DPS because you're not shooting fast enough. So it's better to just practice always shooting as fast as you can. The only exception to that would be fighting something at like ultra long range, like trying to fight a Widow at ultra long range. But even then, if you're at the highest level, you're still shooting max speed. Like at the highest level, no matter what the situation is, you're shooting max speed because you want maximum efficacy, and you just have to be good enough to handle that fast shooting. But slow shooting is like a bad habit, I would say, because it's going to make you hit more shots. But it's like, even if you hit 100% of your shots, your DPS is lower than hitting like 60% of your shots and shooting as fast as you can.